Hey, good afternoon. It's time for Volusia Magazine. I'm Amber Patterson. Today, we'll join Here and Now reporter Joanne Magley for a look at storm recovery, an important part of emergency preparedness. Then health reporter Stephanie Strong will tell us what the Daytona International Speedway is doing to promote a smoke-free environment. Then we'll join Community Information Director Dave Byron in the studio for a discussion with Volusia County's Supervisor of Elections, Ann McFall. Those segments, news, and more coming up on Volusia Magazine. Stay tuned. Beginning July 2nd, couples in a domestic partnership will be able to register their relationship with the county. On May 17th, the Volusia County Council adopted an ordinance establishing a domestic partnership registry in Volusia County to serve the needs of persons living in committed domestic relationships. County Council member Joshua Wagner, who represents District 2, spearheaded the ordinance. He said many domestic partners often are denied certain benefits because there is no established system for relationships to be recognized or registered until now.
The way it's set up now is there's certain groups can't get a certain set of rights. This is an area in government where you could file for. You can go to the state. You can file in 8 different places to get these different rights, or you can just do it in Volusia County. What it does, the DPR, Domestic Partnership Registry, allows us to combine all of them together and just do it in one place at one time. So what it does is it allows 2 people to go to Volusia County. They file with the tax office and say we want to be domestic partners and part of a registry.
Registered partners will be listed on Volusia County's website to allow entities such as healthcare facilities, correctional facilities, schools, funeral homes, and cemeteries to quickly verify an individual's domestic partnership registration. Couples interested in registering a domestic partnership can do so by making an appointment at the Volusia County Revenue Division offices in DeLand or Daytona Beach and fill out the domestic partnership registration affidavit. To make an appointment, call or email the Volusia County Revenue Division. Applicants should read the ordinance to determine the options to be selected upon registration. Both parties must present identification in the form of a Florida driver license, Florida identification card, United States passport, or any other document listed in the Governor's Reference Manual for Notaries. The cost for registering is $50. The first change to the registration is free, and additional changes are $20 each. For more information, you can visit volusia.org and click on the Domestic Registry icon on the homepage. For more information, you can call the Revenue Division at 386-254-4610 in Daytona Beach or 386-736-5938 in DeLand. The Volusia County Council has taken the first step toward increasing public access to waterways. The County Council recently agreed on a contract to purchase the first piece of beachfront land under its new ECHO Water Access Acquisition Program. Pending an appraisal, the 1.7-acre parcel between Maryland Avenue and Maple Street in New Smyrna Beach will sell for $1.15 million. If approved, the City of New Smyrna Beach will build and maintain a parking lot with up to 100 off-beach parking spaces. The ECHO program, approved by taxpayers in 2000, provides funds for the acquisition or construction of environmental, cultural, historic, and outdoor recreation facilities for the public. Last year, the County Council voted to use up to half the money ECHO generates over the next decade, about $20 million, to find bargains on land with access to the ocean and to rivers. The funds come from a 20-cent tax on every $1,000 of taxable property value. The County Council's goal is to provide more parking for beachgoers and boaters county-wide. They're small, they're pesky, and they want your blood. Mosquito season is here, and Volusia County Mosquito Control is ramping up efforts to combat the annoying insects. Employees are stocking ponds with minnows, managing production sites on tidal wetlands, and spraying with trucks and helicopters. They're also increasing their public education efforts. Learn about how you can remove mosquito production sites from your backyard during an open house from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Wednesday, June 27th at Volusia County Mosquito Control's headquarters at 801 South Street in New Smyrna Beach.
What we'll do is we'll open the gate, allow the public to walk through, see some of our equipment, see some of the traps that we use, how we actually bleed a chicken, and what the purposes of those chickens are out there. Our staff will be on hand. We'll have summer interns that will help explain things that we do, how we address a service request, how they can engage us to ask for a service request. Absolutely.
Staff will take you on a guided tour and show you the county's mosquito fish hatchery, spray trucks, helicopters, airboats, sentinel chickens, and mosquito traps. For more information, you can visit volusia.org/mosquito.
Hi, I'm Volusia County Chair Frank Bruno, and you could be a hometown hero by helping the Ocean Center to attract conventions and trade shows. If you belong to a professional organization, we're asking you to bring a meeting home. Be a hometown hero and recommend the Ocean Center for your next meeting or convention. Call Lori Hunter at 386-254-4500 with your meeting tips.
Well, we're nearly a month into hurricane season, and recently reporter Joanne Magley showed us how to prepare before a storm hits. Today, she has advice on what to do after the storm in this week's Volusia Here and Now.
Whether you've lived in Florida all of your life, recently moved here, or just visiting, we all need to be prepared for hurricane season, because hurricanes do happen.
Broadcasts will be interrupted for immediate transmission of severe weather information as soon as it is issued.
When you're thinking in terms of post-storm preparedness, you need to think in terms of things like flashlights and batteries so that you can see. The power's obviously going to be out.
You'll also need things like a manual can opener. And Volusia County's Emergency Management Director Charlie Craig says after a disaster like a hurricane, individuals and families need to be prepared to be on their own for the first few days.
One of the reasons that we have encouraged people to be self-sustaining for 5 to 7 days is that we've been through about 4 years of recession. And these recessionary times have resulted in a shrinking, if you will, of government services.
Craig says that doesn't mean help won't arrive. It will just arrive later than in the years past.
A good example is clearing of the streets. The fire trucks can't get through to search for people until they clear the streets. If we've done away with a lot of our street clearing capability, then it's going to take longer to clear the streets. Then it'll take longer for the people to be able to drive down the streets and do wellness checks on our neighborhood. That's kind of why we're saying you need to be self-sustaining and you need to look after your neighbor. And it should be a neighbor helping neighbor scenario post-storm that will get us through the recovery phase.
One way for neighbors to help each other is by sharing resources, such as using one grill to cook dinner for multiple families. After a storm, you'll need your insurance policy. And before a storm, officials say take pictures of everything inside of your home.
Because if you have to make a claim, and let's say a tree comes down and crushes a bedroom in your home, it's your word against anybody else's as to what you had in that room. But if you've got a picture, it's worth 1,000 words to an insurance company when making a claim.
To make sure you are prepared before, during, and after a disaster, like the Volusia County Emergency Management's Facebook page and then click on the Welcome tab. There, you'll find information to help you and your family stay safe if or when a disaster strikes. For Volusia Here and Now, I'm Joanne Magley.
Volusia County's Emergency Management Division offers a number of ways people can be notified in case of an emergency. The newest being through social media outlets, Facebook and Twitter, and you can also be notified by email or telephone. To sign up, just go to volusia.org/emergency and click on Emergency Alerts. Dozens of teens representing students working against tobacco, or SWAT, came together to recognize the Daytona International Speedway on Tuesday for its bold move to make the Speedway's grandstands smoke-free. Along with NASCAR driver Jeffrey Earnhardt and Volusia County Health Department Director Dr. Bonnie Sorensen, the students of SWAT made sure their message was clear. Public Information Officer Stephanie Strong attended the SWAT news conference and has details in this segment of Community Health Matters.
It's a busy day at the Daytona International Speedway as students working against tobacco, or SWAT chapters from North and Central Florida come together to recognize the Speedway for adopting a policy making the grandstands smoke-free.
Today, we honor Daytona International Speedway for recognizing the importance to protect their patrons from secondhand smoke. According to the U.S. Surgeon General, there is no safe level of exposure of secondhand smoke.
Secondhand smoke is very toxic and dangerous, especially to children who might have asthma, because it can trigger really a deathly attack. There are 88 people per day who die in Florida of tobacco-related illnesses, and 1/10 of them, 10% of them, have never smoked before. It's all because of secondhand smoke.
With Daytona going smoke-free in the grandstands, and I'm very fortunate that starting July 6th, the first actual official race they'll run is one that I'm going to be able to participate in with Tobacco Free Florida as a sponsor on my car. So very proud to have them on board.
Secondhand smoke is especially harmful to children and adults who suffer from asthma. The smoke can trigger a severe attack, endangering the person's life.
My name is Devon Robinson. I will be attending New Smyrna Beach High School next year. I will be in the 9th grade, and we're here to give the Daytona Speedway Association an award for being an asset to society by eliminating the use of tobacco. And I speak from personal experience because I have asthma. My parents never smoked, but my grandfather did, and he actually died of cancer from tobacco. So I speak from personal experience.
Smoke-free policies are important to keep everyone's health and safety a priority.
On behalf of students working against tobacco, congratulations to the Daytona International Speedway for your commitment to creating smoke-free grandstands. This plaque is awarded in recognition of your leadership in the auto racing community. We commend your efforts to protect and promote health and well-being of race fans and creating smoke-free grandstands. Presented on this 19th day of June 2012.
Secondhand smoke is a mixture of gases and fine particles that include smoke from a burning cigarette, cigar, or pipe tip. Smoke that has been exhaled or breathed out by the person or people smoking, and more than 7,000 chemicals, including hundreds that are toxic and about 70 that can cause cancer. Tobacco users interested in quitting are encouraged to call the Florida Quit Line at 1-877-YOU-CAN-NOW. That number again, 1-877-YOU-CAN-NOW. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Stephanie Strong, Public Information Officer for the Volusia County Health Department.
If you have any questions about this or any other health-related issues, you can log on to volusiahealth.com. And now it's time to head into the studio to join Community Information Director Dave Byron for his discussion with Supervisor of Elections Ann McFall.
Well, thank you, Amber, and hi, everyone. This, of course, is a major election year with Florida's primary vote set for August 14th and the general election scheduled for November 6th. The Volusia County Department of Elections is well underway with election season preparations, and as usual, there are lots of things voters should know. So today we have with us in the studio our election supervisor, Ann McFall. Ann, how you doing today?
Thanks for having me, Dave.
And I know you and your staff are probably working around the clock almost by now. What do you have to do to get ready, let's say, for the August primary?
Well, it's huge. As you know, the people qualified to run for office noon, June 8th, so we know who's running.
Right.
We know what's going to be on the August ballot and probably what's going to be on the November ballot. So we're in high gear. We're on 7 days a week now.
And of course, one of the big things you have to do is get all those poll workers ready as well, huh?
That's right. Because of redistricting, we cut our precincts by about 50 precincts. So we used to need 1,800 to 2,000 poll workers. We're down to 1,000 now. So
Wow.
that's a good thing for the county.
And explain to people that don't understand Florida's election system. We have the primary in August and then the general election in November. Tell us about the primary.
Well, the primary is just what it is. It narrows down the field. For the partisan races, Democrat, Republican, they narrow down their most favored candidate that will go to the November election to challenge whoever is running against them.
Right.
For nonpartisan offices, such as the county council races, the chair races, any race that has more than 2 people running in it, that's narrowing the field as well, and the top 2 go to the November ballot. If no one gets 50% plus 1 vote. So the real reason for a primary is to just really narrow the field down.
So those people that have multiple candidates in the race, they're working hard right now then.
Well, they are, and I would just encourage every registered voter, don't wait till November to vote for 2012. Because some races may indeed be decided at the primary.
And you know, a lot of attention is always focused on the security of the equipment, and everyone wants to make sure their vote counts and that sort of thing. Tell us about the security that's in place.
Well, you know, in the old days, it used to be someone had the only key to everything.
Right.
It's no longer that way. No one can go into a secured room without a buddy. It's the buddy system. You both sign in, you both sign out. We get a daily report of who entered every door in the historic courthouse and at what time.
Wow.
So it's huge things like that. There's records of security seals. Every time we open a bag of information, whether it be absentee ballots or ballots to recount, that has to be recorded and a new seal put on. Every unit that's out in the polling place, the voting equipment, has probably at least 6 seals on it.
Right.
And some of the seals, the poll workers don't even know where they are.
And I know you and I have often talked, I just thought it would be worth repeating. You have absolutely 110% confidence in the accuracy of your equipment.
I do, because we have to test it and retest it and retest it before we even put it out into the field.
And if there should be a recount, how does that process work in?
Well, if there is a recount, if the first and second place winner are less than a 0.5% difference,
right.
We run all ballots through the unit, through the machine. If it's a 1/4% or less, it's run through the machine, and then it's the undervotes and overvotes are segregated out. It is no longer like we did it in 2000, holding up every ballot.
Right.
Only undervotes and overvotes are looked at.
Wow. So if there should be anything massive like that, then it really cuts the time down.
Right.
And Ann, you know, you pick up the newspaper, you look, going back to the national level, they're again saying that Florida is going to be a pivotal state in the Obama-Romney race, if those are the 2 candidates. And again, they're saying the Central Florida Beltway, the I-4 Beltway, is perhaps could decide the whole thing. So the old microscope will be on Florida once again.
Well, it will be. If you look at the demographics, Dave, of the I-4 corridor, in 2010 in the governor's race, 43% of the people who voted in that race lived along the I-4 corridor.
Unbelievable.
That's up to over 45.
Wow.
Now, the registered voters in Volusia County, there's about 317,000 registered voters. Democrats are 39%. That's down by 2% from 2010.
Wow.
Republicans are 35%. That's down by 2% from 2010. No party affiliation is up by 4%. So you could see who's going to decide the race. And in Florida, I bet you anything, the no party affiliation will decide who gets the Florida electoral votes.
And let's talk about voter registration. Obviously, we want to encourage everyone that is not registered to get registered. What's the story there? What do people need to do? What's the deadline?
Well, it's really changed since 2011. House Bill 1355 set voter registration on its ear. If you'd like to register to vote you could call my office at 736-5930. You can get an application online on the website at volusia.org/elections. You could fill it out, but I still need their original signature.
Right.
Or you can go to a forum or festival and there will be a third-party voter registration agency there. More than likely, one of my full-time employees will be manning a table at any forums and festivals.
Right.
So you can get an application. It's very easy at any post office, any library. So it's easy to get an application.
So what's the deadline in terms of registration to be eligible for August?
Good question. You need to be, if you want to register anew or if you want to change your party in advance of August, book closing is July 16th.
Okay.
5 p.m. July 16th.
And let's talk about absentee ballots. It's real easy now to vote. I guess on your kitchen table you get an absentee ballot that your office will send. How does that work?
It's really easy. The Department of Elections, through some grant money, mailed out a postcard to every registered voter in Volusia County last month, asking if they wanted to order an absentee ballot.
Right.
The reason we did this is, I bet you most precincts have changed since the 2010 census. And we don't want any confusion on where you go to vote. More than likely, the polling place has changed. We reduced by 50 the number of precincts. So it might be best to vote absentee. You have the luxury of your dining room table.
Right.
If you go to the polls, technically by law, all I have to give you is 5 minutes to fill out the ballot. The ballots are going to be huge. In November, we're going to have probably a 6 to 8 page ballot.
Unbelievable.
Can you imagine?
Wow.
And you have 5 minutes to fill it out.
So being prepared, and as you say, the absentee ballot thing is really an easy thing to do. You don't have to have a hardship or any of that sort of thing. That's just a service that is offered.
Right, no questions asked. But the biggest mistake that's made in the absentee balloting, our signatures change over the years. Please update your signature in advance of mailing your absentee ballot in.
So on that form that you sent out, you did ask for a signature if you wanted the absentee ballot, and I guess that's how you update your signature.
That's a signature update,
right.
That's right.
Of course, early voting is a new trend now, and I think there are some changes in early voting this year.
There is. It's been reduced down to 8 days. It used to be 2 full weeks. It's reduced down to 8 days, but the law, the House Bill 1355, has given the supervisor discretion to allow early voting for up to 12 hours a day. We don't need 12 hours a day in the primary.
Right.
The turnout just isn't there as much as the general. So we're going to have it from 8:30 to 4:30, August 4th to August 11th.
Okay.
At the same 5 sites. And in November, it's going to be 12 hours a day at the same 5 sites.
And if you go to the polls, Ann, what do people need to bring to the polls?
The most important thing is a photo, signature, ID.
Right.
Most of the times it's a driver's license. Shy of that, you can use 2 different IDs, but most people bring their driver's license.
Photo ID, correct?
Photo,
with
signature,
a signature
ID. Right.
So, and your driver's license, of course, is a primary source for that.
Right, and the driver's license now serves a dual purpose because we have some technology in all of our precincts and polling places now, and that's called EVID, EVID, Early Voting Identification. A simple swipe of your driver's license and it will pull up your record and give you the right ballot.
Wow. Wow. And a couple of other questions as we close today. One is I know that you've made a vigorous effort to reach out to the Hispanic voting population. Yes. What's the story there? What changes have you made, and how are you accommodating this Hispanic vote?
Well, we're going to have a bilingual ballot for everyone. Everyone gets a bilingual ballot, beginning with the primary and extending in November. That's part of the reason we have a longer ballot, but it's the right thing to do.
Right.
In addition to that, any precinct that is over 15% Hispanic will have an interpreter at that polling place. no matter, he or she will not be doing anything but interpreting
Right.
for a registered voter. We also have a minimum level we have set for having bilingual poll workers in any precinct that's over 5%.
Wow.
So we're really working on that.
How about those voters that have physical disabilities? How do we accommodate those folks?
Several ways. Absentee ballot in November is probably the easiest way. You could take weeks to vote instead
Right.
of 5 minutes. We still have the touchscreen voting unit, although not many people use that.
Wow.
It's somewhat complicated.
Right.
But that's the big thing. If your disability prevents you from voting independently and privately, by law, I will assign 2 poll workers to help you if you don't bring anyone in to help you. 2 of differing parties, and they will assist you as well. So we can also do curbside to where we could take the touch screen and allow someone to vote on that if they're disabled.
Oh, that's fascinating. I had not heard about that. And I mean, I just can't believe all the things that you all have to keep up with, and all the regulations and rules and all of that. It looks like things are well underway as we get ready for the August vote. It just seems like be right around the corner.
It will be, and I have to stress that to every registered voter out there, we are ready, and we can assure everyone that they're going to have a good, equitable, transparent election.
Well, Ann, we'll have you back before the next election, but thanks for sharing the information with us.
Thank you.
And with that, we'll go back to you, Amber.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about our program, just give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed here, or you can log on to volusia.org. You can also watch the show online. Just go to volusia.org and click on the Volusia Magazine icon. And we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today, Volusia County Government's public information radio broadcast. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Patterson. Have a great evening.